David Jeffrey. I've been a gardener since the age of 5, actually. But I read botany and then did a PhD in Melbourne University in Australia. With 11 days after we were married, we went to Australia. And, I think we have to jump to 1970 when I came over for lectureship in Trinity. And we immediately were into primary school fundraising as a family, as our children were at primary school age. And we started the notion of fundraising by plant sales. And that led on to fundraising for our secondary school. I became chairman of Mount Temple Parents Association, and we raised £100,000 for a theatre. All doing our own thing. Fundraising only works if you do what you like doing. We passed on from Mount Temple to Trinity, and from Trinity to the ARC Cancer Support Centre, where Janet's mother came in. She was always a supporter of our plant sale efforts, but when she finally died in
1994,
yes, the ARC Cancer Support Centre was just starting, and I think Janet better tell you about that.
As therapy, I was drawn in to this. Again, it was suggested that we might try to develop the garden behind number 65 Eccles Street, along inner city. Difficult garden, and again fundraised and had lots of help from the Irish Garden Plant Society, and it's now a much used garden, but it's very nice to see the plaque on the wall commemorating my mother. And by this time, we were getting older, and formal fundraising was not really as possible, but we just are involved in our local horticultural society, Host Sutton Horticultural Society. They had an event to raise money for the hospice here, in which involved our garden being opened in a weekend in 2014, and from then we were introduced or answered an advertisement for volunteers, and here we are.
And you were a retired school teacher?
Yes.
And your husband is?
Retired from Trinity College, where he became an associate professor in biology, and retired in 2004.
And what do you get out of being here?
Well, technically, this is a different kind of garden to our garden in Hoath. Its soils are different. Its uses are different. You have to design gardens around users, and the whole ambience is so different, and it stretches our capabilities. We have a long experience. That the one thing we can bring to the hospice is experience. We don't have the physical abilities we had when we were 50, and we are using our experience now for the benefit of the hospice.
And there's a lot about therapy in gardens for patients, in that having sort of nature close by actually has a physical impact on people. Do you think that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm still a member of the Grounds and Gardens Committee of Trinity College, and I've been involved in that for decades now. And my belief is that the anxieties you encounter in an academic life can be mitigated by, if only, a green surrounding. And all my efforts in Trinity have been to embellish Trinity's buildings and to help the staff and students cope with the manifest anxiety that occur from time to time. And I think the same principle certainly holds for the hospice. And it applies to both, in my view, staff and patients.
How does the garden work here? Just maybe you could describe it.
Well, the hospice has been built over a series of stages, and that has created on its periphery a series of garden niches. And each of these niches or areas is allocated to a different volunteer. So, in a sense, we all have our own gardening responsibility clearly demarcated, in space. And we're given free rein, more or less, within a limited budget. So, with the knowledge that we're trying to help everyone, patients and staff, concerned with hospice.
But we do listen to the staff too. They come and tell us what they want. And it's colour. Colour seems to be very important. Now, this is quite difficult to maintain throughout the year. And, we're just leaving the daffodils behind now. So there was a huge surge of colour. It's now dying down again, so we're trying to get bedding and things into pots which will give colour again. But we're also trying to give a pleasant picture to look at, and leaves are still very important. You don't always need flowers for colour. You do garden a lot with leaves, and tremendous colour range in leaves too. So we're trying to tell them that you don't only need flowers. We can do some with just pots, with just leaves, things like hostas, or just put in a red acer. So these are all complement the colours from the flowers.
So do you have a vision in your head for how you want to proceed since late last year, going into the summer? Do you have a plan?
I've more of a plan for this area, which is more our type of gardening. For example, in the shaded border over here, we've brought a lot of things from our own garden that we know tolerate shade, and you can see the blues, the yellows have gone now, and the whites. We did have a very good periwinkle, white periwinkle, a winter flowering one, and we've put in some winter flowering shrubs in here. Along this sunny border, we've got climbing roses, rambling roses, which we've put into, and we'll soon be putting some wires on the wall, so thinking about that area. And then this area, again, quite sunny. I'm having a go at a little herbaceous border, but if it doesn't work, we'll just change it. But the very first thing we did when we came in here was to make these squares round the bases of these 5 apple trees. They're crabapple trees, and they were full of daffodils. I mean, October when we started, we rushed out and got daffodils, and only just in time to get those in. They're over, but the tulips are just showing a bit of colour now. But it was surprising doing just that little bit, a metre square, round the base of the trees, how it lifted this whole area.
Just giving that little bit of
that little bit of space round the trees before we'd touched the peripheries at all. And the other nice thing about being here, everyone's very friendly and very complimentary.
What kind of comments have you gotten?
Oh, you're doing great work. Fans are coming out when it's raining. You're very good to come when it's raining. That sort of thing. And just a very jolly hello. Yeah. And then we always enjoy going and having our cup of coffee and our very delicious Danish pastry. we can't really compliment the cook here.
So clearly you're enjoying it.
It's tremendous, and it gives you something to aim for. And I mean, we try and at least put one morning a week aside. Just occasionally, if we've a lot to do, we might manage a couple of mornings.
And I see you've got plants around the corner in Wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Are you propagating at home?
We're trying to propagate as much as we can, because bedding plants, to buy bedding plants is very expensive, and we seem to acquire packets of seeds. Various people give the seeds that they don't want, so we do have a polytunnel at home. So we're propagating, and we do lots of cuttings and things, and most of the things we managed to stock these borders without having to ask for funds from the hospice, which again is very satisfying. We're trying to attract birds here, so in this area we've put up a nesting box, and then in the main area our daughter, who is a zoologist, asked us about birds, and so she went off and bought a feeder, so the bird feeder out here, which has caused great pleasure to the patients because they can see it through the window. So again, something else, trying to get birds to come, and there's so much green around. I think we should be able to do that. And apparently this room here is used by children, so we're hoping that, well, there's no birds in it this year, but perhaps next year we might get a nest in the one in this tree.
Done it for many years at home, and we're very experienced in bird boxes, so it's again applying what we know.
So you kind of no regrets about becoming a volunteer?
Absolutely not. No. It's a new career at our age, and we should be well. I've been retired for 14 years, and new beginning.